I think it's pretty obvious we don't know what we're talking about, so I think everything's good.
Now y'all know what's wrong with me. And on that note,
I don't even know if it was bad wrestling. I just know that it was bad on our part. Go support your team.
Yes.
Support band, cheerleaders.
The auto mix inspired Michael Ball. It's the first time he's ever raised his hands on a yes.
Well,
so that's pretty impressive.
Scare that referee back. Let's talk a little football.
hey everybody, welcome to the Press Box. I am so glad you can join us. I am here with the cast of usual suspects here. Randy Young, voice of the Jackets. Michael Best,
Hi.
voice of the Makers. Jim Rayburn.
My gosh.
Sad.
Yeah, color band for the Dogs. Hey, be excited. It's football season, guys. Come on now. Come on now.
It's a good,
Here we go.
good day. It's a good day.
We're talking football. We're talking weather. Early season, South Georgia, all kinds of crazy weather happens. I know that coaches and players aren't going to use these things as an excuse, but we're not coaches and we're not players. Do you think?
So we can use it as an excuse.
But the game I saw too, I think weather played a factor. Michael, do you think it played a factor in just kind of the start-stop? It happened all over South Georgia, start-stop, for a lot of these games.
I think it played a big factor in our game. I mean, I know their goal was to score 100, and God stopped them at 50 because, God prevails over evil and stopped the game. So, yeah, weather helped, and it helps that I do Sunday school on Facebook. I think it does. I just said, God, please, and there went the light.
Well, I'm going to interject here because
the only good thing on Facebook.
The weather definitely impacted our halftime show because the weather delay came during the first half, middle of the second quarter. And I'll let Mr. Best fill in here because he thought the Cairo band went home.
They weren't there. They left because of the lightning, and I looked around, couldn't find them anywhere. So
they didn't leave. Yeah. They were there somewhere.
They were there, but apparently I couldn't see them from where I was at, and I didn't think they were going to perform.
And you're the PA for the band.
I've been for 40 years.
Which means, and he's on the visitor side too now.
Yeah.
So he's got to come to the home side to do the
minute and 24 on the clock, and I look, and here comes the band marching out, and I go, I got to go. Down the stairs, and now they've reconfigured things. I don't know, something about their track, and they don't want you on it. So I ran to Meg's, turned left, had to go through all these people.
Metcalf.
And then I get over it, and you still can't get the and I finally made it, but 62 years old.
24?
Well, actually, there was a timeout, and that saved me, but I did make it in time.
He told me that when he got into that press box, there was a minute 13 on that clock, is what he told
luckily
me.
there was
I did not believe him for a second.
There was a couple of timeouts that saved me.
Never mind.
Because I heard him timeouts, and yes, I got time.
They were probably calling it for you.
I think I did signal down.
He's got such a good repertoire.
They did.
They
saw
referee.
Well, they thought it was a medical emergency.
Yes.
It was.
Call the EMTs.
Yes.
And I tell you one thing about lightning detectors, it's such a difference in things on Jackson Street, because on one end of Jackson Street, if it's lightning and let's say, I don't know, Destin, it'll shut it down.
Not anymore.
On this other end of Jackson Street, a couple of times it hit the lightning detector. We're still playing.
Yeah.
They probably got to fix it because there was sparks coming off.
Keep because you were there.
We're
That's
fine.
it. That's
Keep
it.
playing.
Now we thought you was at Brook Equipment.
Yeah. The history of the show is that one of Michael's nicknames is Thor, or we could call you Odin. That was son of Thor.
Well, I brought that lightning down.
Yeah.
Of course, at Central now, the first time we installed our lightning detectors, our coaches did it, and they installed the antenna that is supposed to detect the lightning on top of the light poles, which if you're going to have, attract lightning, that's a pretty good spot to put on,
Yeah.
And it got fried, and they couldn't figure out why. Well, it's on top of the light pole there, buddy. So anyway, yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about the game. I know tough game for Cairo, good game for Central, 50-7. So let's talk about it from the Thomas County Central side. I mean, you love to have the win. Play well. I know you've got some things to say to your Thomas County Central fans. Maybe pump the brakes a little bit, but just the game itself, great win for the Jackets.
Yeah, big win. I mean, record-setting night for us, biggest win we've had in the series, most points we've scored. But Coach Justin Rogers in his Coach's Corner segment before the game made the comment that the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game are going to be the biggest key to the game because there's so much emotion in those rivalry games. He said, somebody's going to make a mistake. And I'll be doggone, on the kickoff. Cairo receives the kickoff. We force a fumble. First play from scrimmage, we score. Touchdown at 7-0. They come back out on the field, go 3 and out, try to punt, snap the ball over the punter's head, rolls out of the end zone. It's 9-0 literally before most seats had hit the stands.
Yeah.
And Central scored another one at 16-0. And then Cairo had a really nice drive in the second quarter, got down there and scored. And I thought, well, here we go. It's about to turn into a typical Central Townsville game or Central Cairo game. And then I'm not the band director. I'm sorry. It was a Freudian slip. But
he's predicting that score.
Well, as it turned out, we scored again, and then we had the lightning delay.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, now this is exactly what you dread, because whatever momentum we had, now it's gone. And I mean, the lightning delay was about 45 minutes, but we come right back out and we scored again just before the half. And it was a good night. I mean, we ended up with about 470 yards-ish, and I think Cairo was about 110 or so. And a lot of that came on that drive. Braylon Robinson, good-looking athlete for Cairo, and Tyree, the big receiver, again, he's a weapon. But we just played well, and Cairo made some mistakes. We didn't, and I think that was really the difference in the football game. And that's my point to the Central fans. And I realize big win against a big rival, and you're all excited, and I am too. But pump the brakes a little bit here, because, again, Cairo helped us out. They had a lot of injuries through the night that definitely played into our hands and hurt them. And as happy as we are with it, we need to understand, again, it was an opening game. And a lot of things went right for us, and a lot of things went wrong for them.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about it from the Cairo side. You know, again, a lot went wrong. What are some of the positives you see out of that, and then moving it forward to the Monroe game as well?
That lightning detector stopped before it got uglier than it was. You know, sometimes you're just, you know, sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. And like he said, as long as I can remember, just about every Thomasville Central Cairo game is kind of decided in the first few minutes of what's going to happen. And unfortunately, we had the mistake on the kickoff, and then we had the bad snap on the punt, and now you're behind 9-0. And you know, then we were without our free safety already, and then we lost a couple of defensive backs. And when you're trying to go against all the weapons that they have, you need to have everybody. And so couple of touchdowns. I know that you know, they had. I look, and we had a sophomore trying to run back there and cover him, who probably has not played under those lights.
Yeah. Probably a third-year sophomore, right?
Maybe.
He's a young sophomore. An old sophomore, but a young senior.
Yeah.
And you know, and so it just you felt like you never could catch up. And I was looking at the stats, and you know, I mean, it was ugly. And you look, I think we ran 9 plays in the second half and had 0 yards of offense in the second half. And so, you know, when your coach leaves in June.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of in rebuilding mode.
And all of a sudden, you know, and there's people that, well, y'all should have went and got this coach and that coach. There ain't a lot of coaches lined up in June.
Mike and I talked about that Saturday morning.
Yeah.
All 3 of us got new coaches. We talked about that last year. Central got theirs first.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
We were already almost middle of March when ours changed, and then y'all was after that.
Yeah. Middle of spring, end of spring.
So Townsville doesn't even have all the coaches that they normally have.
And so we, you know, it's been trying to put it together with the best you can, and I think we'll get better as the year goes along.
Well, when you're thin to begin with, and then you have a half dozen guys go down with injuries, then you're desperately thin at that
And we have no seniors on the offensive defensive line, and then 2 of the linemen played both ways. So of course, toward the end, they started cramping up because they played special teams too, so they never left the field.
And especially experience on that offensive defensive line is a huge advantage.
Big deal.
You know, in some other, you know, sometimes out on the edges, you know, that you can get away with it if you're a good athlete, but not in the trenches. So now you got Monroe coming in. What do you know about Monroe? I guess
Monroe's Monroe. They got a couple of 6'5" seniors out there that play receiver. And then it's easy.
They always have those.
Yeah, they do. And
till basketball season.
Yeah, then or the fair. When the fair comes to town, that's a good point. The fair. But you know, we got to find a way to not let them have any hope, because if they get hope, we talk about this every year. They're one of those teams that have such great athletes that if you give them hope, they'll beat you. And they beat all of us at one time or another. And so we got to, you know, dash the hopes of them early. and then try to get a win before the next week when we got another big challenge against Thomasville.
And you got now Monroe just beat Mitchell County 21-14. So we talk about that score. Mitchell County has Worth County coming into town, and then of course Colquitt County is winners over Deerfield Beach. No surprise to anybody. And they have Stockbridge coming to town. So a good debut for the Packers.
Yeah, I
so,
saw some highlights from that, and to say that Colquitt out-physicaled Deerfield Beach would be quite an understatement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Charlie Pace can play.
Lowndes played the same thing.
Yeah.
They got the best team. Colquitt got the easier team.
American Heritage, I think, was the name, and I don't remember it.
And American Heritage has been on ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever. They've always had some guys highly ranked recruits.
Yes.
So, a couple other scores. Well, let's talk before we get to Pelham.
Skip Thomasville.
I guess we talked Pelham.
almost
They
did.
lost to Cook County 55-7, and they'll play Chattahoochee. Let's talk about Thomasville. Tough loss to Brooks. One of those. Again, to me, I think the weather kind of plays a factor.
Weather had no
start
factor.
stop.
Weather had no factor in it.
Tell me about.
Well, first of all, last week was a tough week for our kids.
Yeah, you had that going.
Wednesday, we lost the offensive defensive lineman that had played on the 18, 19, and 20 team. He graduated in 21. Thomas Speed was in a car accident, lost his life, and the team found about it Thursday morning, and they were real emotional all day. He pulled the seniors and juniors who had played with him down to the field house, and they stayed there. But I mean, it was emotional. I think that affected them some in the game because it just didn't seem to be in tune. They're better than what they showed. But Brooks County Thomasville series has always been one team's going to jump out first, and you got to weather that storm. We kicked off the Brooks. First play, they go 63 yards. We're 3 and out. They're up 14-0 and driving when we get a lightning delay. And they're up 21-0, and we did not weather the storm, period.
Yeah.
The lightning storm didn't bother us. It didn't even get close, but we just didn't weather that storm, which last year they didn't weather the storm, and we were out big in front of them. Then they hit a couple of bombs late in the ball game. But we're trying to decide on who's the quarterback, either Parker Beckham or Cam Hill. And Cam's a freshman. He's got all the talent in the world. He's going to be he's 6'3", 6'4", big hands, can run, but
he's a freshman,
14
right?
years old.
Yeah.
And you going up against Brooks County with men across the way. And he had a couple of interceptions that led to 14 points, but he completed the only touchdown pass. He hit Cole Shaw for 30 yards in the corner of the end zone to get us on the board and keep us from being shut out. But we had some good drives, just couldn't finish them. They had a great running back, a Cole kid. His dad was big in the 90s at Brooks County in 94 when they won the state championship. Unfortunately for him, late in the ball game, while he was still in, he got hurt, and I hadn't heard how bad, but it didn't look very pretty. So, Brooks is good. Brooks, quarterback's back, defensive line's back, big offensive line. Strength of our team is supposed to be our offensive line, but they haven't gelled yet together. So it's defense has struggled at times and then made big plays at times. But
yeah, I mean that Brooks team's a good football.
Brooks is always going. I mean, Brooks is liable to play for it again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised
because they have that kind of talent. The quarterback is unreal. So,
Isn't he like an honorable All-State or something?
Yeah.
I was going to say I've heard his name.
He can throw it. He can run. In fact, they put him on the first play. They put him at running back. And he hit 63 yards running the football.
Yeah.
And then he can throw the ball deep. So I mean, his Sanders kid, he's very good. But Dogs will be all right. We just got to weather these first 5 ball games. We didn't get the nicest draw of a schedule, opening with the Brooks and then Central, then Cairo, then Bainbridge, then Tifton. So got to grow up a lot this week. It could get ugly fast, or it could be a good ball game. It depends on how our kids show up mentally.
Yeah, I mean, for the positives, and this will be the interesting thing for the Central game too, is I felt like that offensive line near the end of the game kind of really started to get there, start to gel.
We actually got under center and looked real good under center.
Yeah,
we
just
haven't been
kind of
under
running the ball
center since Richie Marsh.
Yeah, kind of running the ball. So I mean, to me, if you can do that, you can maybe neutralize some of what Central has. So it'd be an interesting interesting game as
We're going
always.
to get better as the year. We got 2 good freshman running backs. Both of them are out with injuries right now, but they should be getting back. Hopefully, I don't think either one will be back for Cairo, but maybe for Bainbridge and Tifton to get a little experience before they move into the region schedule. But dogs will fight.
That's right.
We will be there.
Yeah,
We kind of feel like
here we go.
Jacksonville State or somebody going in, but it's at our place, so we're going to reap the money.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Good payday.
It should be a great crowd.
Great.
Both teams have come to each other's stadiums with better teams feeling like they had a really, really good chance to win the game and ended up laying an egg.
Yep.
I mean, and historically that has happened over and over and over again. It's a Central Thomasville game. I mean, again, this rivalry type of game, it doesn't matter. Records, just throw them out the window. It doesn't matter. Seriously.
Yeah.
Ought to be a good one.
It's going to be fun.
Yep, always is.
I'm asking for 42 points.
Oh, good gracious. Here we go.
Here we go.
Anybody wants to give me 42 points, I got Thomasville.
All right. So as long as
I don't know.
as long as
Wonder what the weather lets it happen.
as long as Thor doesn't show up and ruin the game.
Hey, did I mention we did have one drive? It was pretty doggone
It was a
good.
good
Yes.
drive.
I just want to throw that out there. We
Good.
did have one good drive and
Yeah.
got down there and scored. I thought
And that's
a
important.
bright spot. It's something to build
it's
on.
very
the
important.
Robinson
I
kid's a
think, on
player now. I'm
yeah,
telling
he
you,
is.
the quarterback's
And
a
once
player.
we settle in, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah,
We'll be
you're going to
fine.
settle
We're
in,
gonna be all
and
right.
Cairo's going to be Cairo, Thomasville's going to
Emotionally,
be Thomasville. It'll be
spiritually,
all right.
physically, we'll get better.
So
Yeah.
last game we talk about for the break is Brookwood beating Frederica 41-12.
Hey, well, that's what I'm talking
With
about.
only it was delayed. It was only Brookwood scored 41 points only after like a quarter and a couple of minutes in the second quarter.
Wow.
So
okay.
they were just it was like it was
Frederica.
21-12 with like 9 minutes left in the first quarter. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But then Brookwood poured it on them. So Roger Waldrop with another good game. And Weewa Hitchka coming to town. So
Weewa.
Brookwood lost to them on the last play last year. So a little revenge on the mind there. And we're going to be right back. We're going to talk a little college football on the press box. Damage to underground utility lines is a problem in the United States, and unsafe digging practices is a major cause. Unsafe digging can compromise community safety and disconnect people from critical services. Contractors, homeowners, and other utility owners need to be safe. Here's a few things to remember. Call 811 before digging. Wait the required time. Respect the marks and flags. Dig with care. If damage occurs, call your local utility provider and then make the call to 811. Hey, welcome back to the press box. I'm so glad you're with us.
Did I mention we had a drive?
You had one
a
good
good-looking drive.
Yes,
Really nice.
yes.
I think you talked about that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Cairo had a good drive.
Okay.
So much, in fact, they had to interrupt my intro. So, yeah.
Was it just a good
when I
drive from
think
Cairo
about
to
it-
Thomasville?
When I think about
That
it,
was the drive.
That was the drive.
That bypass.
Anytime you leave Grady County and come to Thomas
Oh,
County,
God.
You take that.
that's what I tell my daughter every day.
Jim, he has sat there for the last 15 minutes waiting for that one. That was
And you
too
opened the
good.
door.
I mean,
Mark it down. Jim scores.
Yeah,
Jim scores.
yeah.
That was
Micah,
good.
you teed
I'm
that
having
one up.
a rough
brother.
week. I mean, you know what it's like to lose a lot of games.
I do,
You're
yeah.
about to learn, and
I know.
and
We've already learned just a few years ago, you know. 0-9 kind of
I'm having a hard time.
Oh,
I
gosh.
ain't saying a thing.
All right, so on that note, let's try to talk college football,
try.
fellas. Let's try. Let's talk Florida State. They do have a game versus Duquesne on Saturday. Not too many college games to talk about,
The Dukes.
but
Is it on TV?
it is on TV. I believe it's the ACC network.
Nickelodeon.
You can see that, yes.
Satellite only.
ACC network number 2. It's going to be on the SEC Overflow network, which never has anything on it, by the way. You know, there is one. There, when they first came out, there is an SEC Overflow
Just
network.
in case
Yeah.
Just in case you need another
Just in
SEC
case,
game.
you know.
things get backed up.
That's right. So, what do you want to see from Florida State? I had, all reports are that Duquesne isn't a great team. They're not as good as Jacksonville State. I'll beat you to the joke.
That's good.
But what do you want to see from Florida State?
70-0, something like that.
70-0. Just in terms of execution and all that. I mean, the score doesn't. I'm not interested in. Obviously, hopefully we win, we play well. But I'm interested in execution. I'm interested in the run game is what I want us to see us do. But Randy, what do you see for FSU? What do you want to see them just do well, regardless of the score?
You should win these types of games solidly, big,
Yeah.
and look good doing it. I mean,
Yes.
you shouldn't walk out of there going, well, we got worries right there. In this game, you ought to walk off the field feeling like you played a solid game at every spot. That's not too much to ask. And you're not talking about, I mean, if they win 70-0, they win. But again, you win 42-3, 42-7, something like that. I mean, that's a solid game.
Yeah.
And for FSU, they need confidence, especially along that offensive line. And if they're able to walk off the field with that confidence, the mission accomplished, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Got a big game the week after,
That's
which
right.
is LSU.
That's right.
How much money is
so-
Duquesne getting to come to Tallahassee?
I don't know. It'll be pretty nice. It'll be pretty nice. But Michael, you want them to have more than just one good drive, right? A couple
Well,
good drives.
You don't want to play down to your competition. So
Yeah,
you want to see
yeah,
them.
right.
Yeah. they need
Yeah,
to-
and I think that's very important, especially as a team that doesn't have a winning culture right now, is just play good no matter your competition,
That's it.
right? So, I mean, I feel like we do that on the press box, no matter what our competition is.
No
we
matter
just
what
play good.
happens, we come out
Well,
on
let
top.
me ask you this.
Yeah.
Now, how have you felt about what Norvell's done in the offseason? You been pleased with what you've seen and heard, or?
I think it's been a pretty good offseason. Obviously, you know, you kind of have that bumpy year of recruiting, and we had a good year, but we needed a great year. But what you did see is you saw him address deficiencies. So in other words, we ran out of depth on the offensive line and really got in trouble there. Well, he got a bunch of guys to come in on the offensive line. Nobody who's going to be in the NFL. Maybe, but
say, now, hold on.
no huge recruits that he got. But again, bodies that are going to be important. You need a bunch of bodies on the offensive line. So he addressed
five.
those.
That many?
Yeah,
Sure.
At least 10.
and we weren't.
Well, yeah, if you can get 'em.
He's probably got about 8 or 9 guys that can play and play well. We had about 4 guys that could play, rolling into those past couple of games. You could see some of our offensive linemen take
That's why
one
they
wong
struggled so
step.
much. They only had 4
Yeah,
offensive
well, it
linemen.
looked
Yeah,
like it.
I wondered what was going on.
No, I mean,
five.
you could see one of those guys, maybe our center who was playing really hurt, and like if there was a big defensive tackle on him, he just struggled because he was playing on one leg
Yeah,
basically. So that's good news. I think you see good culture. Now you got to win on the field. I mean, I don't think FSU fans are unrealistic. I mean, I think 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins. You do that and your trajectory's up.
I've
then
never
you do
met
well.
He went from
I've
7
never
to
met
9.
an unrealistic fan.
Yeah, no,
ever.
no.
At the beginning of the season, it's always
Yeah, everybody's going to win it all
I
at the
think if they
beginning of the
win
season.
8 games this year, that's a pretty doggone good season.
Yeah, that would
now.
be a very good season for
Yeah.
considering that schedule. Considering the ACC actually has a lot of good quarterbacks this year. So you may, so Miami may not have a great record, but they've got a great NFL quarterback. So there's going to be some difficult teams to beat. Let's go to kind of the last question, the off season, and there's no yes, no.
Which,
It'll
by the
be
way,
back
they need
this
to be
week.
writing letters to
Yeah, we need
cordial
letter-
letters to Alston.
demand
about
that we
yes,
do
no.
So we can get
no.
yes, no back.
Yeah.
Second week.
Yes,
we
no,
know
will be back next week. So, but just off-season talk and kind of who won the off-season. So, Jim, who won the off-season in your mind? Just kind of just going through all those
I only
changes.
watch one team,
Yeah.
and I think they did a pretty good job.
So Ohio State.
Got a lot of good 5 stars coming in. So, of course, the receiving coach draws the best receivers in the nation. And
Yeah.
So got some good receivers to replace the 2 that we graduated this past year. And
You got a good defensive coordinator, which
Right.
I think really was the issue last year. So if you fix
Last
that,
year
you're a
it was-
championship team.
the issue was the defense was young. This year they'll be young, but not Cairo young.
Yeah, they got
young.
That's pretty
they
young.
got
Always
Oklahoma
is.
State's defensive coordinator, who I really liked. I thought he did a good job for Okie State last year. So
I hope he
We'll
don't
see.
bring the Big 12 defenses.
well, they were sneaky good last year, and also got a lot of turnovers last year. So I think it's going to be a good fit. But you never know till the season starts. But Randy, what do you think about who kind of won the offseason in your mind?
Well, Kirby Smart got a nice raise, Georgia, and of course Saban just got a big raise as well. I think Alabama, with the fact that they go in ranked number 1, even though they didn't win the national championship last year, and they've got a lot of question marks on the offensive side, their offensive line and their receivers. But I mean, they're Alabama.
Yeah.
So
They play Texas right off the bat.
they sure do.
Yeah.
My Longhorns are in for a long day.
Maybe
Yeah,
so. Maybe
but
so.
do you think this is one of these things? You think that Will Anderson, the linebacker, or he's the defensive end, stud defensive end, gets a lot of sacks. Do you think he should be a Heisman contender?
Absolutely.
Should win a Heisman
if he dominates the way he could. I mean, sure, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that. It's supposed to go to the best player, not the best quarterback.
It doesn't always.
It should go to the best player.
The
I've
best
always
player,
said that.
not the best running back quarterback.
That's
On
right.
the best teams,
Or
which
wide
it always
receiver.
is. Yeah.
I remember the year that Orlando Pace from Ohio State was. I thought he should win it that year. He was the most dominant thing on any football field that year, including the NFL. But offensive lineman, no. But I
And
absolutely.
Ndamukong Suh played
Yeah.
for Nebraska,
Yep,
just
absolutely.
threw everybody around. There's no way he shouldn't have won the
I
Heisman
agree.
that year. So, who won the offseason for you, Michael Best?
I'm going Texas A&M.
All right.
They bought a good offseason.
They did what?
They bought a good
They
offseason.
bought a good offense.
Well, you know, I am here for the Jimbo and Nick Saban fire back and forth. I love that kind of stuff, so I was all over it. That was great by me. So anyway, you think they're going to parlay into that some wins, or how do you think that's going to work for them this year?
I think, and again, it's Alabama's to
Lose.
lose.
How about USC? USC got Lincoln Riley, a lot of transfers. I think a lot of national media types say they won the offseason, but I think you still got to build a team. And You can't build it out of just transfers. So I'd be interested to watch them. But I am very glad to see USC get into the game, right?
And it's interesting.
Get into the game.
It's interesting. Michael brings up Texas A&M to hear the national media talk about Texas A&M and how they still are not sold on Jimbo Fisher there. They even with all that he's bringing in and all that they brought back from their team, it was pretty good last year.
Yeah.
Everybody's going, okay, maybe not. And Jimbo has set himself up now that if he struggles with what he's bringing in, talk about a hot seat, he'll be on it quick.
That'll be good.
Yeah, but it'll be a very always intriguing storylines coming out of the SEC. I always appreciate that. So it's going to be fun to kind of watch that. And of course, all eyes will be on the A&M Alabama game coming up. So that's going to be.
So we're out of
gonna be
weekends
fun.
with no college football now until December.
it.
Right?
That's
Roll.
right. This is it. You get a first taste of it. How about some Vanderbilt and Hawaii action
Can't wait if
coming
I
up
can
there?
stay up that late.
So that's going to be fun.
That's true.
And anyway, hey, go out there and enjoy some high school football. Enjoy watching the band, cheerleaders, and Michael Best run across the field to
Absolutely.
hype the band. It's always a good thing.
We got
And-
new lights.
Yeah.
Lights are going to be flickering. New
Yep.
sound system.
What are
And-
the lights
and-
going to do again? Should we begin?
What about a new press box on the visitor
No,
side?
no new press boxes.
And
this year.
They
are,
have
are
ice
you
water.
supposed to
There's
run the
a
lights and the
dispenser,
sound
ice
too?
water dispenser.
I've got a hand. I got a free hand. I can run the lights. Talking on the mic. I can do it.
You do it all. You do it all.
I can make it happen.
All right.
Tell you
Appreciate
about
y'all.
that drive we had.
They had a
Pretty
good drive.
That was a good drive.
Yeah.
It was a good
Bypass,
drive.
Papa D bypass.
All right. We'll see y'all next week on the Press Box.